Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Coalition of the Sane, hashtag COTS, which spells COTS, a COTS take. I am Denver Riggleman, former congressman from Virginia, former senior technical advisor to the January 6th committee, former NSA and Air Force intelligence professional, worked in the Office of Secretary of Defense, know a lot about data, know a lot about idiots, know a lot about conspiracy theorists. And today, we're going to talk about one of our favorite conspiracy theorists and those who toe the line in her little weird wake. That's Marjorie Taylor Greene. And what she said today that anybody, no, let me pull this up. I think you guys will like this. Is that anyone that wants to continue to shame us for January 6th can go to hell.
That's right. And any Democrat and any person from the mainstream media and anyone that wants to continue to shame us for January 6th can go to hell.
Us. Marjorie Taylor Greene says anybody who continues to shame us about January 6th deserves to go to hell. And there's a couple layers here I'd like to talk about. First of all, do you believe in hell? What does it look like? Does it burn? Is hell, as some religions believe, just separation from God or from a heavenly Father or deity? Is purgatory first? I mean, are you hanging out in between, looking down like, I don't want to go down to that fire. I'd rather be in the pearly mansions above, wearing a diaphanous gown, see-through.
What color underwear am I wearing?
What is hell? And so there's a couple things when you look at Marjorie Taylor Greene's statement about the people that shame them for January 6th could go to hell or should go to hell. What does that actually mean? Shaming them for what? For the, was it 1,400 charging documents, or is it all convictions now? I just got done, looking at the number, but I'm done tracking it. I'm exhausted by it. I remember when we hit 1,000 charging documents when I was on the January 6th committee looking at data. So it's very difficult for me to read things like that since it was my team that found the Meadows text messages. It was my team that identified Jenny Thomas in the text messages. It was my team that did the 30 million lines of data, 30 plus million lines of data for call records. It was my team who knew the command and control infrastructure. It was my team who found all the addresses and phone numbers for all the subpoenas. It was my team who validated all of that data. It was my team that sat in many of the depositions and made sure to cross-check and catch people when they were lying. That's my team and me that did this. So when I say this, first of all, that means Marjorie Taylor Greene believes in a deity or she has a supernatural connection. Now, I'm not going against religion. As many people know, I was raised very religious, and I really do outline it in my book, The Breach, which is right behind me, as everybody knows. You can see it over my shoulder. I talk about this. January 6th had so many coup-like attempts embedded not only in the command and control architecture, but in the individuals who are running alternate electors, trying to invoke executive orders like 13848. You need to look that up. Actually trying to end run the entire constitutional process with Mike Pence, trying to force people into the Capitol grounds, into the Capitol for negotiating purposes, and then lying about all of it. So when you look at all these layers, it's pretty evident that January 6th was actually a real thing. And here's a couple layers I want people to think about. If the election was overturned or there were votes actually counted for Joe Biden that weren't there or taken away from Donald Trump, why didn't they stop the Republican majority from coming in? It would be game over right now. You can't square that. The amount of algorithmic, I would say, experts you would need for every state, the amount of coordination, the amount of things you'd have to do to reroute all that data, to stop all those votes with 50 states, with 50 different voting processes. Think about that, 50 different voting processes, completely different. I mean, there's conventions, there's primaries, there's closed primaries, there's open primaries. Then you go into the general. You have all these different things or all these different processes that you have to follow for each specific state or commonwealth. And here I'm in the great Commonwealth of Virginia. We saw the data. The data was made up when it came from the wrong side, which are the Phil Waldrons or the cyber ninjas or all these buffoons who are actually trying just to get into good graces of Donald Trump, and we're hoping that they could actually overturn it so they can get in some kind of power dynamic. These are bad people. These are weird people. These are people who hate America. They're the worst. They're scum. And I think we have to be specific on how we define them. They're actually anti intellectuals, but they try to pose as intellectuals in order to get some kind of grounding with the powers to be, that being Donald Trump and the minions who surround him. When I put this out, when I talked about that, it's ridiculous, right? I did put out a bit of a post in response to Marjorie Taylor Greene that certainly has gotten some attention, where I talk about that everybody who actually invaded the Capitol that day, sacked the Capitol, are losers, or they're ignorant, right? They're conspiracy theorists. But not one who did that is somebody who I would want to, come into my house unless they showed incredible um, sadness for what they have done. Apologies. That's what we need. We need people to have some kind of realization of what they did was completely wrong. So I had somebody actually reach out to me that there was going to be new hearings coming soon after 2024 when Trump wins the election, if that were to happen. Now we're going to find out again it was a deep state conspiracy. There was a deep state in the feds that actually did this, or it was Antifa. It can't be. It literally can't be. They took credit for it. Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. We already know that she's one piece of wood shy of a cord. I mean, there's a lot of cliches I could use, right? Elevator stuck between floors. you have all of them. But for her, it's a deliberate attempt to weaponize ignorance. But there's layers to that ignorance because she's also appealing to the religious right or Christian nationalists when she says this. And now you have this fervor of Christian nationalists who already believe that Donald Trump is the chosen one. That's who she's trying to whip up. It's this bizarre and awful combination of ignorance, Christian nationalism, and a propensity for violence. Yeah. Are you going to send us to hell? How are we going to get there? What does that trip look like? Really, what does that trip look like? So as we push into 2024 and the election cycle, everybody here needs to go in and actually read the January 6th report. I would tell you to read my book, The Breach, but this really isn't. I would rather you just rent it. If you don't want to buy it, if you don't want to pay the money, go to the library, borrow it from a friend, buy it used for $5 or $6. I mean, it was published in September of 2022, but it's more relevant today than ever. I've been sitting on war games. I played POTUS. I played the Speaker of the House on tabletops about what would happen if Trump actually won the election. And I can tell you this, it's absolutely frightening what can happen. So here's what I want people to do. Read the J6 report. If you want to, read my book, The Breach. It's data specific, but it's exciting. It's very exciting. The other thing that you need to do is you need to look around you and look at what people are saying. Look left and right, and look at what they're going to do in 24. Look at Project 2025. Look at what they're doing, hear what they're saying, read what they're writing. Please go to hell with me. Let's all go to hell. Go to hell now is positive. Because if we all end up in hell after we have identified the truth through facts and data, then I don't want to go to heaven. And I don't want to be part of these idiots. We are actually fighting the idiot brigades with the pro-reality army, but we have to match the energy of the crazy that's embedded inside the idiot brigades. And if you're not ready to do that, you're going to get rolled. Don't be the dumb who sticks their head in the sand and thinks that, oh, process is going to win. This is a political fight. You need to bring a machete to a knife fight. That's what you need to do. And if you think it's Marcus of Queensberry rules while we're going through this, you're on a bad side here. This isn't about process or legality. This is about dirty freaking politics. This is about getting in the mud. It's like, oh, don't get in the mud with the pig because the pig likes it. Well, if you're going to get in the mud with the pig, you better be ready to throw down. You better throw hands. Well, I'm talking about hands. I'm talking intellectual hands. So here we go. Read the J6 report if you can. Try to read Project 2025. It's almost 900 pages. If you want to read about data, buy my book or borrow it or whatever you want to do. Hey, look, my little dude fell out. Oh, that sounded funny. Let's do this. Let's have some fun in a way that the sane like to have fun. And that's actually being part of a pro reality army that's ready to get to work. Oh, and let's go to hell together.